Thanks, Pep. You know, I feel that in sports, there's always talented players and there's talented teams, but there's not a lot of winning teams. Your program finished the season #1 in the country. You've consistently had a program that's not only top in the area, but top in the state of California. Tell me, how much has the culture you've built here attributed to that success?
I would like to think a good amount. I mean, of course, it's the kids, it's the players who win the games, and you got to get those, as you said, rowing in the right direction. Some talented kids, you want them pulling on the right cord, on the rope, the same direction, so on and so forth. I like to get, as you say, buy-in. I'm trying to hold them accountable through conversation, complete, precise communication, honesty. And back to the buy-in would be, I need them to bring, what can you bring as well? Some investment, I guess would be the word, on their end, where they are part of what we're doing and not just being told what we're doing, but they are part of what's going on. And of course, I'm the boss. I have a background, and any head coach is the boss, and, and I have a pretty good background, and as you said, we've been on a pretty good run, and it's been a good while run, so I guess my word would be a little bit credible, but at the same time, it can't just be me. I'm not going to be the dictator. I say it all the time. I need you. I need your thoughts. I need your ideas. I need your creativity. I need to know what's working because times have changed. I know we had some off-camera conversation about how just times have changed over the last several years due to the COVID situation and the time off and a bunch of different other things going on. But I need those kids to buy into what's going on and be absolutely part of it, as I said, with their investment. Yeah. Or I have a good chance of losing those kids in some way, shape, or form because they're all being pulled in so many different directions.
Wow, and I appreciate you mentioning that. That's such an interesting take, and we were talking about this a little bit ago. So many, I feel like it's nowadays, today's culture, so many of the kids they're looking for a program, and it's like, what can you do for me? And you're putting it out there. You're like, hey, it can't just be about what I can do for you, but what are you going to do? What are you going to bring to the table? And I feel like that perspective, it's so different, right?
Dude, I used to go with the JFK. Don't ask, but seriously, I used to say that all the time, and now it really is. It is. Our product is out there. It is what it is. I don't run just a super shop. It's not a one-stop shop, man. I'm allowing you to go do this, that, and whatever. I'm very secure with our program and what I teach. I call what I teach universal. I guess I'm fortunate. I'm very confident and comfortable enough of how I was taught and who I was taught by.
For sure.
So I'm very secure in what I'm throwing out there into the world, and was also lucky enough to continue to go on and play a little bit to where I got to hear and see other people's perspectives on how this game should be run. So this, if you want to hear it, Ray, what it really is this is my take on Dave Snow's Long Beach State baseball program and Don Sneddon's Santa Ana College baseball program. This is my interpretation of what I think it should be in this day and age.
I got you. I think it's pretty progressive. I really do. I mean, to feel that, hey, I'm gonna let the kids go out there. They know what I'm about. And then have them meet me halfway. I mean, that's just not something you hear from a lot of coaches, at least in my opinion. Being a part of the culture, I feel like it's very unique.
I'm pretty, like I said, I'm pretty secure in what I have been taught and how I teach, so I want my guys to go into the world.
I got you.
And I'll tell you what, I tell them all the time, you are not going to be shocked by anything. Yeah. You should be prepared for everything. And if you are, do me a favor, come back and tell me what time it is, so I can add that to my plate.
I like that. I like that.
I'm good with that. And I think another thing that we've done here pretty good is get rid of any eyewash. As I said, this is my version of my old coaches' programs, and there's a couple things in those programs that we don't do here. The times have changed, and they have other opportunities and outside people that they get to do those things with, and I think being a well-cultured, well-rounded type of ball player and athlete in person, more important than anything, is awesome. I think it's great. So go send out. I call it universal. When I might say it in our terms, how we call it in our program, but I always say that's how it's called here and universally. And now outside of here, they call it this. So when you hear this, when you go play pro ball, you ain't gonna sound like some rookie, that don't know what's time. You're gonna know, and here's why. So, and then we get to hear everybody else's.
Yeah.
So as we talk about it, we get to hear, we play a bunch of good programs. So we get to hear how they speak, what they're speaking on. So if we hear something foreign, we run it back in here and I say, hey, you know what they're talking about? And they're, oh, dang. So I want them to be as well-rounded and well-versed in this game as possible, and getting outside help, I think, is beneficial.
That's cool. That's cool. And I love that, when it comes to accountability, development that looks at these young men in larger than life aspects. I love that, because that's what sports should be about. That's what the game should be about. I'm going to take it back to culture. I'm a strength coach, and so culture is really important to me. Anytime I'm talking to parents about culture, the definition I love to use is that culture is defined as the worst behavior that is allowed in your organization, right? And so in the context of sports, I think what that is it's a standard. It's the standard that coaches are always trying to push their athletes to be at. And that standard is what defines the culture, So what I want to know is, what is the Corona Panthers baseball standard that you guys have here?
We want to leave here feeling good about ourselves, that we did all we could on a daily basis, that we've done everything we can. We can look in the mirror, we can go get a good breath before we go to sleep and start seeing what we're going to do the next day and start piecing that together. And if you're not, you're making an adjustment. This is a game of failure. This game, more than any other, is an absolute game of failure. So being able to deal with that failure is obviously a big deal, and it's the separator in a lot of things. There's a lot of other talented folks out there, but I think just how we manage ourselves and how we go about our business, I really think probably is the driver of the culture, and we have been flexible in it, and there's a quote or a phrase or however you want to call it, a title, I guess is the best way to say it. I'd say, what you do not want to be here is the king of Corona. Because if you are the best player in Corona, or one of the best players in Corona, and you don't aspire to be bigger than this, then you ain't doing it right. Because there's way too much talent. For sure. I don't care what sport it is out here. If you're the best girls soccer player, you better than the city of Corona. No offense. It's a great city with an unbelievable amount of talent. Unbelievable amount of talent. So don't be the king of Corona. Get out of here, man.
I gotcha.
So, yeah. And I'll call him that. If you ain't doing it right, that would be me clowning on somebody. Hey, king of Corona. People like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's the diss in our program, me calling somebody the king of Corona.
That's pretty cool.
It's not a compliment.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, because it's a larger than life approach. And I think you got to have that, to create a program that has excellence, because that standard of excellence, it equates to winning. So that's interesting, be bigger than Corona, be bigger than here. And I think it's been working for you guys.
I think so. Had some nice competition within, and we're ready to do this. So it seems to be going in a good way.
Awesome. And I appreciate that. I think that the best programs, they play for something bigger. You're talking about, being bigger than Corona. That's what the best teams do. They take care of themselves, every individual, like you mentioned, and they're playing for a higher purpose. That equates to them coming together and playing for something higher. I think that's what you have built here, Coach. It's very special. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you.
All right.
Always.
Yes.